Dear students, in our previous classes, we have just discussed about RBI functions in two different headings. That is, general functions to non-monetary and non-traditional functions of RBI. With this background, same chapter, another subunit we have to discuss is the Reserve Bank of India and credit control. That is, RBI controls the credit in the interest of the nation. Why? What exactly this credit control stands for? This we have to discuss in detail. In a developing economy like India, the RBI has to facilitate the planned development programs of the government and ensure economic growth with price stability. Hence, along with the credit expansion policy, the RBI also acts as a countervailing force to contain means to control inflationary pressures. So, the monetary policy of the RBI can be called as controlled expansion policy. To meet the growing demand for credit with the expansion of trade and commerce during our plan periods. In our previous classes itself, I have told you, when I mean plan periods, all those dates from 1951 till date, during which the government introduced several 5-year plans. During our plan periods, as well as to facilitate the growth process in the Indian economy, the RBI has pursued or adopted the policy of credit expansion. Thus, during the plan period, there has been continuous growth of supply of money. In fact, this it can either expand the credit or contract the credit depending upon the situation. Supposing if it is inflationary pressure, RBI controls the credit. If it is deflationary situation, it expands the credit. The very first main we have is quantitative credit control methods. Under this quantitative credit control methods, we have 4 points for the discussion. Under that, very first one we have is BRP, bank rate policy, or shortly it is called as bank rate as well. Sometimes you may expect a 1 mark question, what is BRP or bank rate policy? First of all, you should know the meaning. It is a rate at which RBI lend funds to commercial banks. In the place of RBI, of course, you can write central bank. Rate at which the central bank lend funds to commercial banks. Bank rate policy generally indicates interest rate at which commercial banks borrow credit money from RBI. Either you can write the first one or the second definition. It won't matter. Anyone you can take it. That is rate at which RBI lend funds or rate at which banks borrow credit money from RBI. One and the same. BRP can be considered as the cost of borrowing money from the commercial banks. At what cost? When I say cost, we are talking about rate of interest. The rate of interest or the cost at which borrowing the money from commercial banks. To check inflationary pressure, I think you are aware, inflation is a situation where the prices increase and the value of money decreases. So why do the prices increase? The prices increase because of excess income. So in order to control that excess demand condition, credit has to be controlled. For that purpose, RBI increases the bank rate. Supposing all these days, let us assume if it is 5%, it may increase to 15%. So whenever RBI increases a BRP or bank rate, it is called dear money policy. Dear money policy. They may ask you for 1 mark, what is dear money policy? So in order to counter or check inflationary pressures, RBI increases the bank rate. This you call dear money policy. Whenever the bank rate is increased, the cost of borrowing increase, that is rate of interest increases. When rate of interest, for example, if it increases from 5% to 15%, borrowers will decrease. It discourages the borrowers to borrow money from the banks because, as I have given an example, the rate has increased from 5% to 15%. When borrowers decrease, investment, employment and income, all these three decreases. When income decreases, excess demand conditions can be controlled, demand decreases, hence the inflationary pressure can be controlled. On the other hand, RBI keeps the bank rate low to check the deflationary situation. Previous point we learned, to check inflation it increases bank rate you set. Now to check deflation, opposite happen, bank rate decreases, let us say from 15 to 5. As this is known as cheap money policy. That means at times of deflation, RBI decreases the bank rate. This you call cheap money. Opposite you write, that becomes dear money policy. When cheap money policy is pursued by RBI, the rate of interest decreases. That means the rate at which we the people can borrow from the banks decrease. Then number of borrowers and even the investment increase. More and more number of people borrow from the banks. When borrowers increase, investment also increase. This will initiate higher employment opportunities, that is employment increase. Income also increases. As a result, excess supply conditions can be decreased. Hence, deflationary pressure can also be controlled by RBI through bank rates. Come to the second main point, what we have as OMO, that is open market operations. Shortly we call it as OMO. What exactly the term OMO stands for? Open market operation or OMO indicates purchase and sale of government securities and treasury bills by RBI. See, depending upon the situation, whether it is inflation or deflation, RBI either sell or purchases. What exactly this technique all about? Let us discuss. Take the first point here. At times of inflation, let us say if there is an inflationary pressure, RBI or Reserve Bank of India sells the government securities in the open market. When I say sells the government securities, these government securities are sold to the commercial banks. As a result, those commercial banks pay the money to RBI and purchase those government securities. As a result, the RBI will pump out some amount of money from circulation. Most of these securities are purchased by commercial banks and other financial institutions. When these commercial banks and other financial institutions purchase these securities, they surrender or they give the cash or liquidity to RBI, take the certificates or government securities. As a result, the capacity of the banks to lend decreases. Why? Because their excess liquid assets or cash was given to RBI. So their ability to lend decreases. As a result, investment, employment, income, all these three decreases. So inflation can be controlled. Whereas at times of deflation, opposite happens. Observe the previous. At times of inflation, RBI sold government securities. But now, at time of deflation, RBI purchases the government securities. When I say purchases government security, RBI gives back the money what the commercial banks gave to RBI along with the interest and takes back the government securities to pump in some amount of money. Previous what happened? To pump out excess liquidity. Now it pumps in the amount of money. Most of these securities are sold by commercial banks and the financial institution. This point is common in both. As a result, the capacity of the banks to lend increases. Previously what happened? The capacity of the banks to lend decreased, but now it increases. So that means they have more amount of money to lend. As a result, investment, employment and income, all these three increases. When income increases, more demand is created, thus deflation can be controlled through OMO. However, the open market sale has been pursued by the RBI to check the continuous expansion of liquidity with the banking sector since the first half of 1980s. The RBI has been extensively undertaking switch off operations, that is, purchase of one treasury bill against the sale of another or vice versa. At times of deflation, RBI purchases the government securities to pump in some amount of money. Most of these securities are sold by the commercial banks and the financial institutions. As a result, the capacity of the banks to lend increase, investment, employment and income also increases. However, this point has been repeated and focus much on this particular point. Go to point number 3. CRR, that is cash reserve ratio. According to Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, each commercial bank has to keep a certain percentage of its total deposits with RBI, and this we refer it as CRR, or you can write it the other way. Cash reserve ratio or CRR refers to proportion of the total deposits which the commercial banks have to maintain with RBI. I repeat, proportion of the total deposits with the commercial banks have to maintain with RBI. However, the RBI is empowered to vary. Vary means change this ratio between 3% to 15%. Depending upon the situation, either it can increase or decrease, but that variation normally it will be between 3% to 5%. During inflation, RBI reduces the supply of money by increasing CRR. See, at times of inflation, more demand conditions exist due to higher incomes. So the intention of RBI is to supply of money has to be checked. And in fact, in order to check or to reduce the supply of money, RBI increases the CRR. As a result, commercial banks have to keep higher proportion of their total deposits with RBI, and the loanable funds of commercial banks get reduced. For this particular point, think of a particular example. Supposing if a particular bank, let us say SBI, it has got 100 crores deposits, and if the CRR is, let us say, 10%, then 10% of 100 crores it has to maintain as CRR. Supposing if RBI takes the decision and doubles it, clear, then it has to maintain more as CRR. As a result, the capacity or loanable funds of that particular bank decreases. Come to the next. During deflation, RBI in fact takes the action opposite of the previous. That is, RBI increases the money supply by reducing CRR. Kindly compare this point with the previous. Here you said that reduces money supply by increasing CRR, but here increases the money supply by reducing CRR. As a result of this, commercial banks have to keep lesser proportion of their total deposits. Let us say if it decreases the CRR in the second instance from 20% to 10%, then they have to keep less proportion of their total deposits with RBI. As a result, their loanable funds increase, and they are having the ability to lend more. As a result, the borrowers increase, followed by investment, employment and income increases, and we can counter deflationary pressures. The fourth method is SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. Apart from CRR, all the commercial banks in India under Indian Banking Regulation Act of 1949 have to maintain liquid assets in the form of cash in hand, cash with other banks, gold, and unencumbered approved securities equal to not less than 20% of their TD and DD with RBI. Such a big statement. How to remember? A question arises. Sir, in the previous heading we have discussed CRR, that is cash as a ratio. The proportion of the total deposits which the banks have to maintain with RBI, we can write it as CRR, no doubt. Then how to write SLR? SLR refers to statutory liquidity ratio. It mainly includes the liquid assets in the form of cash in hand. That means the commercial banks have to keep certain proportion of their total deposits as cash, and also they have to maintain some amount of cash with other banks at times of necessity, and even gold deposits. Unencumbered, the word encumbered refers to sold. Unencumbered, unsold, approved securities, government securities, all these they should have equal to not less than 20% of their time deposits and demand deposits. Keep it in mind, time deposits can also be written as term deposits and demand deposits, anyway we are aware, with the RBI. This is known as SLR. I am stressing this SLR once again. Please focus, because in short answer you may get a question for 2 marks. Differentiate between CRR and SLR. So whenever this difference between CRR and SLR is asked, you have to divide and write separately CRR and SLR. It will fetch you complete marks. Then, however, RBI is empowered to raise SLR up to 40%. Now, actually, as per the existing conditions, it is up to 20%. But it is empowered to increase SLR up to 40% also. Now, a question arises, by either decreasing or increasing SLR, how we can control the credit? Observe the situation here, you will come to know. During inflation, inflationary pressures exist in the economy. During such situation, RBI raises the SLR. It increases the SLR. Let us say it doubles from 20 to 40. As a result, the banks are required to have more of all these cash in hand, cash with other banks, gold, and unencumbered approved securities. They have to double it. As a result, their loanable funds decrease. When loanable funds decrease, we can counter or check inflation. And the opposite happens at times of deflation. That is, whenever deflationary situation occur, in order to control that, RBI decreases SLR, let us say from 40% to 20%. Then the banks are not legally bound to have more percentage of all these SLR. As a result, we can control deflation. That is vice versa, opposite of the previous. In the year 1962, SLR was raised up to 25%. It has been observed that RBI is continuously increasing SLR to check inflationary pressures over the years. However, keeping in view the recommendations of Narasimhan Committee report, RBI decided to reduce SLR in a phased manner or in stages from 1990s. Come to the second main type of credit control, which we call qualitative or selective credit control measure. Come to the second main. Qualitative is also called as selective credit control. Now a question arises, what exactly this qualitative or selective? When credit control measures are imposed by any central bank to check the flow of credit, on the basis of its quality. Here two terms to be kept in mind: flow of credit and quality. Whereas in the previous heading it is quantity, here it is quality. And all such measures we put it together and call them as qualitative or selective credit control. And this method regulates the flow of credit from commercial banks on the basis of the purpose of investment or the credit worthiness of the borrower. However, the qualitative or selective credit control methods are, the very first one we have is margin money. Actually, this margin money implies that the minimum margins to be kept by the borrowers with the commercial banks while borrowing money against the specific securities from the commercial banks. Here, what exactly this margin stands for? In our previous classes itself, when I discussed about commercial banks, I told you no commercial bank or a cooperative bank lend money without securities or mortgage. But those mortgages or securities are must. And here the minimum margins to be kept by the borrower. Suppose if I am a borrower, there's certain minimum what you call margin that I have to maintain with a commercial bank while borrowing money against a specific security or mortgage. Come to point 2. Under that, what we have as credit authorization. It shows the ceiling on the amount of credit. When I say ceiling, limit, how much I can borrow, the limit on the amount of credit for certain purposes, it decides, which needs the prior sanction of the RBI depending upon what purpose. Suppose, assume if it is an important sector like agriculture, industry, the credit authorization will easily be done because it's an important thing required. Come to point 3, DRI, that is differential rates of interest. This scheme relates to discriminatory rate of interest charged on certain lines of advances provided by the commercial banks. Now fine, if you read this statement, here you focus much on discriminatory rate of interest. What is this word discriminatory rate of interest? For example, person X, he borrows credit for agriculture sector, let us say. The rate of interest will be less for him. Another point, person Y, he borrows the money from a commercial bank for industrial purpose. Even for him also the rate of interest will be less. But for industrial purpose, the rate of interest charged will be quite higher than the agricultural purpose. So depending upon the purpose for which they borrow, the rate of interest differ. That's why we call differential rates of interest. And remember, they keep in mind purpose for which they borrow and change the rates of interest. This we call DRI or differential rates of interest. Come to the last point under qualitative methods, that is moral suasion. It is the moral appeal. When I say appeal, it's a request. Moral appeal of the RBI to commercial banks urging them to restrain from certain lines of credit operations, which means that RBI urges the commercial banks to restrain. Restrain means not to give credit from certain lines of credit operations. Suppose if it decides that these are the sectors which the banks are supposed to give, then under the directions of the government, RBI urges or makes an appeal to the commercial banks to lend. Suppose if it decides not to, it can give. However, RBI is the supreme or apex body. It appeals to the commercial banks whether to lend or not to lend, or to restrain from the certain lines of credit operations. Anyway, this particular question, whatever we have discussed today, quantitative and qualitative methods of credit control, is a most important and often asked question. And for 5 marks in section B, you can expect this question. Either quantitative methods can be asked or qualitative can be asked. Or you can expect the question the other way, like SLR, CRR, if it is asked in section A for 2 marks, qualitative can be asked in section B. Anyway, this full heading, whatever we have discussed, learn this heading thoroughly and practice this question. Each one of these terms are new to you. Focus much on them and learn well. Thank you.